What's up, everybody? It's Make It Make Sense, and I only have a couple words for Dawn, y'all.
I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you learn something from this? You go to bed at night, you lay there, you take responsibility for yourself, because nobody's going to take responsibility for you.
Okay, y'all. Hit the like button as the intro plays. We got a lot to get into.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense to me intellectually.
Make it make sense. You know what was up.
Big moves.
Surfer.
Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you say. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things of your dreams. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you say. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things of your dreams. Hey, let me work out all the
Your
things.
name is right now, bad boy. Love. Well, we about to make love. And then we gonna change your name back to Diddy. Cause then we gonna Diddy. Then we gonna change your name back to Puffy. Cause that's what you gonna be when we done Diddy.
I like that.
Hold on, wait, you ain't supposed to like it. It's,
I like what you're talking about.
I don't like it if you
I hate
like it.
scrambling and scraping.
Hey,
That's a lot. I like that. I like you.
guard?
I ain't locked in here with you, playboy. You locked in here with me.
Hey, no Diddy, bro.
And grab that baby roll over there and lather up.
Lather up.
Thought I told you that. We
Hey,
won't
nah,
stop.
man, hold
Thought I
on.
told you.
Okay, y'all. Dawn, what happened? Dawn started off so strong, y'all. So we're gonna get into the Dawn thing. We're gonna get into Carrie Morgan. I know somebody asked already. Yeah. So a lot is going on, but we were all in the courtroom, literally shouting at the damn screen when Dawn was giving her testimony. While she was with the prosecution, she was trucking along. But by the time that the lady from the YSL trial got a hold of her, she didn't let up. So it was a lot. It was a lot. And unlike Cassie, Dawn was not giving it to her. But I will definitely let you know why I feel Dawn didn't give it to her. It almost felt like somebody who's accustomed to being abused. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen somebody or been around somebody when their abuser comes around, they get very timid. I didn't want to have to give it to Dawn because y'all know she's from Louisiana, but we're going to get into it. They asked, what's the first incident of violence? She said it was 2009. Last incident of violence, 2011. She witnessed multiple incidents. Security who was around and witnessed it, she said D-Rock and Bonds. They opened up an exhibit. It's a picture of D-Rock. He's looking real rough. Oh, before we even get into that, I'm a person who gives, courtesies to other content creators and people and reporters and stuff like that. So I met somebody. She was really nice. Her name is Neek. I hope I say that right. She was there, and I spoke to Gene Deal today. Other than that, it's just the normal people. My new friend from People Magazine, Lauren, my friend from the Shade Room, Armand, Mel, infamous Sylvia. These are all professional courtesies. Just FYI. Professional courtesies go a long way. Tisa. Yeah. So was there anybody else? Oh, Celebrity Scandalust, of course. Yeah, for Gene. I had seen him. We ended up washing our hands together at the sink, and I talked to him for a second, and I was like, I get it. Gene, when people are sitting down, you don't really realize how big they are. Gene, I can see why he was a bodyguard, and I can see why Gene Deal is not nervous about Diddy. Honestly, Gene Deal seems like he has like a presence. If I was Diddy, I wouldn't want to F with him either. So shout out to Gene. Sparkle, I would not know. I don't even know who that person is. Yeah, no, he kind of looked at me like, yeah, you would not want Diddy would not want to go up against Gene Deal. Just FYI, Gene seems like the type that don't take shit. So, but yeah. Okay. What did you ever see any bruising? She was bruised on her face, her eyes, her lips, and her body. How did she hide the bruises? Oh, what's up? Surprise witness. Shout out to Mims in Louisiana. Shout out, that might be my cousin, y'all. You never know. And Sabrina, thank you so much for joining the membership. Guys, yeah. So what I do ask is that we try to get to as many likes as possible. So we have 1,600 watching. Let's try to get to 1,000 likes pretty quickly. How does she hide the scars? It said makeup and glasses. So there's a picture of them at a festival in Central Park. It's Kalina, Cassie, Dawn, and while they were there, she overheard Puffy and Cassie arguing while they were in the dressing room. Diddy then punched her in the face with a closed fist. How did she behave after? She came in the bathroom crying and she was hurt and embarrassed. What if any injuries did you see? She had a swollen eye that she covered up with makeup. Did you remain with Cassie after the incident? She says yes, because I wanted to support her. They show another exhibit. It's Kalina, Cassie at the festival again, and Cassie has on glasses. Now this is where Comey, the lead attorney, is literally like passing notes again. I feel like the lead attorney is a type A personality. I don't know if she doesn't trust her co-counsel, but she is passing notes consistently. In a couple pages, I'm gonna tell y'all the bone I got to pick with infamous Sylvia. She was sitting next to me today, but I'll tell you in real time. Let me see. So there's big sunglasses. They said, why did you wear sunglasses? And she said, me and Kalina wore sunglasses to show solidarity with her. In 2010, there was an incident in the restaurant. What happened? Diddy punched Cassie in the stomach. There was a lot of convos. There were celebrities in the room. Diddy was secretly arguing with her, then out of nowhere punched her in the stomach. This was in front, and they said, did any employees see it? And they said Harvey, Capricorn, Mia, D-Rock, and Kalina. Another exhibit, it's Harvey Pierre. Now, they showed a picture of Harvey Pierre, and I was expecting to see him with a crack pipe, maybe looking like... This was a clean-cut photo of him, but I was expecting... What's that Dave Chappelle character? This is what I was expecting to see. Not a businessman. And don't get in the comments. I know some of y'all know Harvey Pierre. I know some of you guys think he's a great guy. I'm only saying that the lawsuit said that the man was smoking crack in the private jet when they was transporting the underage girl to Diddy's studio. And she said that she walked in the bathroom and he had a Coke can crack pipe. Now, if you know him, don't be mad at me. Be mad at the person who put him in the lawsuit. Just FYI. Thank you, Danielle. Danielle is actually my personal friend in real life. She says you look handsome, boo. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it ain't me. Harvey Pierre, this is what he really looks like. I'll show you what he really looks like. This is what he really looks like. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to get the image of the Coke can crack out of my head. And that's just what it is. No, he was the president of Bad Boy after Kirk Burroughs. He was the president, actually. So it's a Harvey Pierre. I just put, I don't see a crack pipe. Why am I like this? They asked him, was Harvey your boss? She says no, but he was a Bad Boy boss. He answered to Diddy. I answered to Diddy. Did any of the employees present intervene? She says none. When did you see her again? In the car on the way home from the diner, we were sitting facing Cassie and Puff. Cassie and Puff were arguing. She felt embarrassed that he did that in public. He grabbed her neck and slapped her in the mouth. I'm sorry, trigger warning. They are going to be, we're going to be talking about more abuse. So FYI, that's going to happen. Sorry, you've been kind of warned. You kind of know the subject matter at this point. So, but I should be doing a trigger warning each time. Let me see. Did security do anything? She says no. What did you know? What did you know about Cassie? That she wanted to put out her album and she wanted to continue modeling. Did you ever tell Diddy anything about wanting to write for Cassie? She says yes, but Diddy made her pay for it. He always said, "It will be in my time. I own you. I own her." What was the demeanor? Sorry. What was his demeanor during this? She says it was always aggressive. Sometimes he would just say, "I own you," and it will be out when it will be. Did you ever speak to her after the beating? She says, yes. I told her she should leave. So at this point, this is just a side note. I put Dawn as a writer through and through. She is speaking like a writer. Everything is like alliteration. She's expanding it. And what's happening is they're objecting because it's not just a direct answer. Oh, what's up, JP? It's not just like a direct answer. So I could kind of see where there were like cracks in her testimony because she always wanted to say, and I feel like Cassie felt like this. It was just like, stick to the yes or no's. Harvey Pierre. Harvey used to tell her it gets dark and lonely on the other side. I wanted to show you. I hope I don't get in trouble for this. When she was talking, it took me back to like making the band. Hopefully they don't tag my channel for this. Hold on. There was a fight with Lori and Gibson. Making the band, Lori and Gibson, chair fight. Did they wipe it from the net? Damn it, I think they might have wiped it from the net. I'm gonna have to go probably to like Lipstick Alley. But some of the things that she was saying, it was very reminiscent of making the band. The stuff, it gets dark, it gets lonely. As an employee, you guys can put in the comments, how would you feel if somebody is constantly telling you things like this? A boss is telling you things like this. I had seen and witnessed brutality to a loved one. I'm sorry. So it says, why didn't you intervene? And she said, I had seen and witnessed brutality to a loved. If I've seen him and witnessed brutality to his loved one, so what would he do to me? How did you respond? I approached Diddy in soft ways. I put timid. And then I put follow that thread. Did you continue to help Cassie? No, because I didn't feel Cassie was ready. And Cassie was telling Diddy what Dawn and them would say. Like, you always want to like tread lightly if somebody's in something abusive, especially if you don't feel your safety is, if you feel like your safety might be in jeopardy because they're going back and telling their abuser you said to leave them, that definitely could have put her in jeopardy. So I don't blame her for eventually she stopped telling Cassie to leave him. Did you ever witness Diddy do drugs? She said weed, X, ketamine, coke, Molly. How often? Often. Where? The house, the studio. Who delivered it? One Stop. And then I put, that's a good name for a drug dealer, One Stop. What did he bring? Coke and Plan Bs. This nigga was delivering Plan Bs to the studio. Y'all, he Plan Bs, other birth control, Molly. Blew my mind. Who paid for it? Assistants and himself. Did he offer anybody else? Me, Cassie, Kalina. Did you observe him doing any drugs in the studio? Yes. Did you ever see Diddy with a gun in the studio? I mean, did you ever see Diddy with a gun? She says yes, in the studio. When? 2009, 2010. Where? He would leave it. It would be in his lower waist in the back. Did you ever observe him with anything else or anywhere else? And she said at the club. Was there anyone else carrying guns? She said D-Rock and Bonds. Did the guns affect you? She said, yeah, it kept her fearful. I was normally scared. When did you leave Bad Boy? She said 2011. Did Diddy come in contact with you after? She says, yes. When my career had a little momentum, he would always call. And if I didn't answer, he would call incessantly and have other people call. Describe why you didn't disclose abuse. I was told not to by Diddy and Harv. Was there a time where you were told not to disclose what you had seen? And she said, yes, in 2024. So Diddy was actively reaching out to her, like tying up loose ends once the lawsuit started to drop. They said, did you file a civil suit? She says, yes. How much did you ask for? She says, I don't know. Now, right there, I started to say, what do you mean you don't know how much your lawsuit is for? Maybe you don't know how much Cassie's lawsuit is for, but how do you not know how much you are suing this man for? That didn't even make sense. They said, are you getting any money from Today? She said, no. So this was relatively tame. I really was not thinking what we were about to get from Nicole. Let me show you what Nicole looks like. Now, shout out to this black attorney. I'm just going to say it. I know she is part of Diddy's defense team, but I'm just going to give it to you guys like I see it. She came in and left no crumbs. She did the damn thing. And I hate to say it, but I was really like, if you got the money, hire this lady. I'm not even gonna hold you guys. If you have the money and you in some trouble, hire this woman. The way that is okay, let's just get into it. What's up, AT2? This was bad. Now, while I'm giving you this cross exam, because it's definitely not in Dawn's defense, I will be playing for you guys video of Diddy doing victory dances throughout. So just if you see a video of somebody dancing, that's Diddy, because he was happy that she handed Dawn her ass. Let me see. It says your lawsuit is pending. She says yes. Oh, I'm sorry. So this is Nicole Westmoreland. You guys got an idea. Says your lawsuit is pending. She says yes. Is there a motion to dismiss pending? She says she's not aware. Now, just FYI, if you don't know the answer, you're trying not to perjure yourself, you will hear people in court saying, I don't recall a lot, but it does not make for the best witness, and you can't not recall everything. And I think that's what we got with Dawn. There's a whole bunch of not recalling. It said, did Diddy come in contact with you? Sorry. Before filing a lawsuit, you know that they sent a demand letter. Dawn says, I'm unaware. And can you say it in a way that I can understand? Now, remember I told you guys, I said I was going to follow the lead of Dawn being timid. At this point, her voice has changed. She's no longer as assertive. She's speaking in very hushed tones. So we're only on question 3, and she's saying, can you say it in a way that I understand? The question was really clear. Is there a motion to dismiss? You would know that because your lawyer would call you and say they filed this. Diddy and this team filed this during this court case for a reason, and we'll get into it. She said, you hired a lawyer to do a job, and she says yes. And I put Dawn is playing dumb. After filing the lawsuit, the government met with you, and this is Dawn. How do you not get a yes or no answer? How do you not get a yes or no answer? It was just after you filed your lawsuit, did you meet with the government? I put longest pause in history. So then the woman says, okay. Okay. You met with them 8 times. And Dawn says, I met with them a few. Then she says, your testimony has changed. And she says, from Friday to today, it's changed. So you said that you saw him throw eggs, that Cassie was downstairs with the eggs, cooking them. And she says, no, she was cooling them. And you said he attempted to hit her in the head. And she says, yes. She says, was Friday the first time you spoke about it? She says, no, it's in my lawsuit. So I put in bold letters, Dawn is speaking in hushed tones. They are all asking her to speak up and repeat her answers. So then it made me think, okay, if Dawn has been abused, we know that she alleged that Diddy has done some abusive things to her. Sometimes people who have been abused, when they see their abuser or, somebody like this woman who has a very strong persona and works for Diddy, it's like she recoiled. You get what I'm saying? Like she completely recoiled. She wasn't sure of herself. All of the assertiveness was gone. It's very different from Cassie, who I told you guys wore colors to assert her own, dominance in the courtroom. She wore power colors and things. Dawn is now kind of like shrinking. And now the defense is speaking to her like this, like, do you understand the words that I'm saying? I'm like, oh shit, here we go. She says, did you ever make a statement that you heard a pan hit the wall? Dawn says, I don't recall that. So then she pulls up the transcript where Dawn had said she heard a pan hit the wall. This would be a transcript of the conversation that she had with the prosecution in one of these 8 interviews she had with the prosecution. So the defense shows her where she said it, and her response is, I never saw that. I never said that. So defense is now going over what it meant to hire lawyers with her again. What are you looking for with your lawsuit? She says compensation. Defense says money, and she says no, compensation. And the defense says money is the same thing. So at this point, the attorney is annoyed. Do you have any disagreement that you met with the government? She says no. You told the government that he hit her with the frying pan. She says yes. You would agree that there is a difference between hitting somebody with the frying pan and trying to hit them in the head with the frying pan. She says yes. She says, do you understand you are under oath? She says yes. They pull out another exhibit. Did you tell the government he set the frying pan down? She does not recall. Did you say that he actually threw eggs? I don't recall. You agree that throwing eggs is different than hitting with the pan? She says, to the best of my recollection. Would you agree with me that it had been hard to keep... What does he say? Would you agree with me that it has been hard to keep... Oh shit. I'm sorry. Would you agree with me? Because I'm also laughing while I'm writing this. Would you agree with me that it has been hard to keep your story straight? Dawn says, to the best of my recollection. Now, remember I told you we're going to show you Diddy throughout. Diddy is now a full A cup. Like he's a full A cup. So he's usually sitting there like this, just bouncing. So as she's doing this, and we're just getting to the beginning of her calling out, this is what Diddy is doing. This is what Diddy is doing in the courtroom, y'all. Just bouncing. Because this woman has, within moments, like this was such a quick cross exam. She's tearing into this girl. And on the human side of this, if you recall, there was reports that Diddy had called his people into huddle and told them, I know how to break Cassie down. Like, we need to change directions. I'm going to tell you what to do. Well, I feel like he did the same thing with Dawn, and he knew that Dawn was, he knows her points, and he knows where she is probably weaker at, and I think he played up on that. I think that he sent this particular lawyer after her so that anybody else who might be suing them, they can embarrass you on the stand. I fully believe that Diddy did this on purpose to set a precedent for what it's going to be like to go up against him. Definitely intimidated the hell out of Dawn. I felt bad, honestly. I felt bad, but it's weird because I'm still so proud of this black woman who's doing her job so well. Let me see. Would you agree that you've had 4 different recollections? Everyone starts laughing in the overflow room. Dawn said, I don't agree. The next day in the studio, October 31st, 2024, first interview with government. Did you explain to the prosecution that this is nothing more than you told the prosecution that he told you that it was nothing more than a love argument, but you did not mention the threat. Dawn says, can I see the transcripts? So she's looking at the transcripts and she says, this is not to my recollection. I put the attorney is eating Dawn up at this point. So then we got Diddy bouncing again in the chair, living his best life, just bouncing. Excited, happy, because Dawn is getting it. Is it true you didn't tell prosecutors on the second occasion? Dawn said, I'm doing the best I can. And she goes, so you forgot to mention that he threatened to kill you. They said objection, and it was sustained. So now is where I'm mad with infamous Sylvia. So I'm just me, and I'm messy. So infamous Sylvia is sitting next to me. There are a lot of members of the public in the courtroom now, and so they don't necessarily know you're not supposed to be eating, especially not things with smells and chips and stuff like that. The lady in front of me had been eating these corn chips. So I write a note. I said, I'm so tired of these damn corn chips. And I pass it to Sylvia to read. So she reads it, and then she says out loud, what corn chips? So the woman in front hears and starts like trying to like put her corn chips away. And then when Sylvia realizes what she done, she's like, oh, Mims, I said, get off me. Get off me, lady. Like, get off. The woman had been eating these damn corn chips for like 30 minutes. So low-key, I was happy she did it because at least she stopped. But she definitely, don't try to tell infamous Sylvia no secrets. Don't share shit with her. Don't share shit with her because she gonna read it out loud. Was she a black woman? Yes, it was a black lady eating corn chips in the courtroom. Let me see. So no recollection does not count at this point is what I put. On April 17th, there was another interview. Again, you spoke about the incident, but you never mentioned the threat. So Dawn says, can I see the document? And again, it was the same thing. So then she starts listing it off. 1031, 318, 48, 417, 49, 510. These were all meetings where you never listed that he threatened you. It says, is it the first time you said that people go missing in this court? She says no. So then the woman starts talking slowly. Would you like me to show you the rest of the transcripts? And Dawn says, we can.
Do you want to do this? Do you?
That's a joke. She didn't really say we can. She said, I remember what I remembered. So who was at the restaurant for the punch? She said, me, Cassie, Kalina, Harvey, D-Rock. So then she said, was anybody else there? And she says, yes. She goes, there were celebrities there. And she says, yes, who? Usher, Jimmy Iovine, Neo. And she goes, why didn't you mention any of this in the testimony? She said, I'm not sure. So she's trying to insinuate that she had been coached into saying certain things, or the things that she is saying may not be true. Then there's another beating incident, and we're at the festival incident. Was Kalina there? She says yes. Is it true that Kalina and Cassie and you were being filmed at the festival? She says yes. Do you have the video? No. Are you aware if a video has been turned over? She says no. So if Diddy punched Cassie, would it be on video? And I put, this is the first time that Dawn got her. She was like, no, because we were in a bathroom, and bathrooms are not being filmed. So I was like, okay, good. Point for Dawn. 1 point for Dawn. Reiterating all the questions. And she's just playing with her at this point to see if she can. She said, you can agree that Diddy is a celebrity, and you were once a celebrity.
I'm so tired, child. I'm so tired. I'm really tired.
I'm going to repeat that for you. She says, you can agree that Diddy is a celebrity, and you were once a celebrity.
That was not expected.
I was like, why are you doing this woman like this? So Dawn says yes. So I put, this was very smart. She poked holes in the beginning. That way, the rest of the time, people will question the accuracy of her answers, i.e., her reiterating all the questions over and over again, because she punched so many holes in Dawn's initial testimony that by the time she is reiterating these things over and over again, you don't know at this point if Dawn is telling the truth. You don't know if Dawn knows her name. You don't even know if Dawn was ever in Danity Kane. You don't know if Dawn is from Louisiana. This was very smart cross-examination. I would even say I prefer the way she cross-examines more than their lead attorney. She is so direct and so to the point. And Mark just sits there and tries to joke. I would say that Mark's strategy is less in your face and more, he does things in like a roundabout way. He tries to throw in jokes. He tries to disarm you. This woman said, fuck disarming you. I'm just going to go after you. And I also put, at this point, he would be a damn fool not to make her lead attorney on the civil case that Dawn has against him. She said, did you ever see Diddy cock a gun, load a gun, or point a gun? She says, no. When and where did you see the gun? She said, the New York recording studios, and at his New York residence. They move on to drug usage. Did you ever do drugs with Diddy? She says, weed. Did you ever pretend to pretend to do drugs with Diddy? She says, yes. Did you tell the government you never saw him do coke? Now, if you guys remember, in her testimony, she mentioned coke. It was like coke, Molly, and all this other shit. When this woman said, can we see the exhibit? I said, oh man, Dawn. Of course, when she said the exhibit, we already know that it's going to be, there's going to be, we pull out the exhibit. It clearly said, did you ever see Diddy do cocaine? And she said, no, she didn't see that. Now, in the stand, she said she saw it. This woman said, so you would agree with me, as time progresses, your story changes. And Dawn says, yes. Then we move on to One Stop. Diddy just in the courtroom, titty shaking, happy. Did you see One Stop sell drugs? She says yes. Who did you see giving money? She says assistants or Diddy. We move to an interview about One Stop. In the interview, is it true that you never saw him sell drugs? And she says, yes, it's true. So the prosecutor says, so your story changed again? And she says, yes. More dancing. I put in parentheses, this is so effing sloppy on the prosecution's part. They had time to go through her civil lawsuit. They had time to do these things to prep her. Oh my God. They said, at this point, Ms. Richard, you would agree with me that your story has changed several times. And they objected to that, and it was sustained. I said, Dawn, damn. 2011, you separated from Diddy. She said, do you agree with me that you asked Diddy to come back after you were scared of him? She says no. So then they said, can we pull up the text exchange? Hold on, we got some super chats. We did that one. Was really good. Says free Puff. Angela says, did Lorianne confirm the grope of Natalia Graves? Not to my knowledge, unless you know something that I don't know. I've not heard of Lorianne being compelled to testify in anything, not even this case. Dina says, Mims got a Dominican in NYC haircut. Actually, shout out to Flawless the Barber. I have gone to Flawless the Barber twice already. He is near Times Square. So shout out to Flawless the Barber. Coco, the attorney is an SA survivor. She sued Cash Money. Not sure why she would represent Diddy. Use the black woman to go after the black woman. Coco, it was on the nose, but seeing how effective she is in the courtroom, they should have just let her be lead, to be honest with you. I know Mark is a big name, but this lady is really, really good. Really, really good. Monique, thank you for the coverage on this whole case. I appreciate you for watching, Monique. And Jasmine says, keep up the amazing work, Mims. Thank you. I appreciate it. Oh, and the Cash App. Something's going on with Cash App, you guys. So if you'll notice, Cash App is sending everything back. You can follow my Instagram, make it make sense now. Don't know, they couldn't let her attack Cassie. Would have been a wrap from absolutely. She would not have been a great person to handle. She would not have been a great person to handle Cassie, especially as assertive as she is. But we're going back into some more Dawn reads, because at this point, kick the woman while she's down. Why don't you? So it said, so you wanted to go back with him, but you were scared of him. They pulled up the text exchange. She says, is it that Diddy made contact with you and you reached out to him as well? So she kind of like stumbled, and then she says, yeah, one time. Let me see. Yes, that's correct. And you were scared of him? She says, yes. So now she's kind of laughing during the question. She's like, and you were scared of him? She says, she says, death threats, fear of your life, afraid of him, but then you asked to work for him again. She says, yes. Explain Platinum. She says, we sold a lot of records. Danity Kane, 2009, Dirty Money, 2011. She says, since you have released over 100 songs, Have you reached the same level of Danny Kane? No offense, of course. This woman said, no offense, of course. Let me reread this. Since you have released over 100 songs after you were no longer with Danny Kane and Dirty Money, and have not reached you have not reached the same level of Danny Kane. No offense. And Dawn says yes. After Dirty Money, you asked to sign a solo deal with Diddy, and she says yes. And as recently as 20 to 21, you asked to work with Diddy. Yes. Were you angered that he dismantled both your groups? She says, I was hurt. Diddy ruined your career twice, didn't he? And she says, yes. And you have been trying to succeed ever since. And she said, no, I have succeeded. The level of shade in this fucking courtroom. Let me reread this for you. And you have been trying to succeed ever since. Dawn replies, no, I did succeed. And this woman looks at her, looks away from the notes, and said, in the past.
I'm being real with you because I heard about you. I was waiting on you at the door.
She said, no, I did succeed. And the woman said, in the past.
And
Oh, Jesus Christ. She didn't have to do her like that. Oh, Jesus. Fix it. Jesus. Dawn said, and this was not a question. So now they're basically arguing. I don't know why nobody interject, but Dawn said, no, in the present. She says, you want to get money from Diddy. Dawn says, compensation. She said, is compensation money? And she says, yes. So then they ask for a sidebar. So I'm eavesdropping on two attorneys, and they're talking about how they might come back and file something that says Dawn perjured herself on the stand. They're concerned that the court is built on gossip and that she had 4 different recollections. So then, of course, the prosecution comes back and they asked about her employment. Can you explain why you filed your civil lawsuit? She said, compensation for my time worked for Sean Combs. What about your pay was discussed in your civil lawsuit? She says, I don't recall. When did the events occur? She said between 2004 to 2011. And then she said, that's about a decade later. And she says, over a decade. Did you think about your employment since? And Dawn says, I try not to think about it. It was a hard time for me. I have to go into memories I don't want to recall. What memories are you trying to suppress? She says, the volatile environment, and every day it gets easier. How does it get easier? And this woman said, speaking with you guys. Every day it gets easier to remember. And the woman says, how? I'm sorry, the prosecution says, how? And she says, speaking with you guys. That was the worst answer ever. The defense just tore you a new asshole, like literally a new asshole, because you have added to the story on the stand, but in your individual interviews with the prosecution, you weren't saying these things. Now they're saying you're remembering, but how is it easier for you to remember now? And she's saying, speaking with the prosecution makes me remember the truth. I believe these things happened to Dawn. I just do not think that was a great answer. That was not a good answer. Did you review any of the exhibits for accuracy? She said no. You met with the government on several occasions. She says yes. In every meeting, did you inform the government that he hit Miss Ventura? She says yes. In every meeting, did you inform the government about the beating? She says yes. In every meeting with the government, did you discuss he had told you to keep quiet or threatened you? And she says yes. We move on to the frying pan question. How many years ago did it happen? Now, it happened in 2009. Dawn says, I'm not good with math. I'm not good with math. Dawn, it was 15 years ago. No, I'm sorry. Sorry. I think she tried to say 15. It was 16 years ago. She says, I'm not good with math. In speaking with the government, did you have any doubt that he hit her or grabbed her by the hair? And she says, no. Any doubt that the following day he threatened you? No doubt. The diner incident. Did he punch her full force? I don't know. Did I ask you which employees were there? She says yes. Did I ask you about any celebrities? She says no. Were you trying to hide the celebrities? She says no. And I agree with her. She was trying to trap her. That's the one time I got to give it to Dawn. The woman asked her about employees. She did not ask her what celebrities were there. So, good point for Dawn. In the car incident, what happened? Did he slam Cassie's head into the window? When you initiated contact, why did you reach out to Diddy? She wanted to work with Lorianne Gibson. There was going to be a new Making the Band opportunity, and Lorianne told her she would have to reach out to Diddy, and Diddy would not be part of the project. Did you ever reach out for other reasons? She says yes. Kalina was having issues, and then they objected, and it was sustained. How often do you hear from Diddy? She says sporadic. Now, what issues was Kalina having? Because if we remember, Kalina did a video after Diddy had called her a bunch of times. It was an interview. And I'm not the person who should tell anybody. I'm not a doctor, but it felt to me like Kalina was on something. Like something was off. I don't know if she's on drugs or what. Kalina Harper interview. We're going to look at it real quick, or at least a little bit of it. It was like, it was a little. Let me see.
Probably Dirty Money. Dirty Money was one of the best times of my life. Aside from being a mom and being married and all that stuff, but Dirty Money with Sean Combs.
Why? Why was it the best time of your life?
Fucking Sean Combs is like bigger than life. First of all, Sean has.
She was a fan. Now I don't know specifically what was going on with Kalina, but when I watched the video, I felt like something was a little bit off. And I definitely feel like Diddy got to her, and that's why she released a statement. But I don't know how Dawn was supposed to help her by joining. That was kind of like news to me. And when you reached out to get back with Diddy, why? And she said it was to help a friend. Westmoreland at this point asked for a conference. And she says, Westmoreland is now asking questions. You only want a relationship with Lorianne. She says, yes. Making the Band. Diddy would not be a part of the new one. She says, yes. If you reform Dirty Money, you would have to be around Diddy again. She says, yes. Tour, TV appearance, travel, multi-city travel. She says, yes. So it's fair to say you would spend a lot of time together, even though you were threatened. She says, yes. And she says, are you hoping for a lot of money in your lawsuit? And she says, yes. No, there was no Prince audio played in court. I don't even know where that came from. I heard people talking about it today. We have no idea where that came from. Let me see. So then we get Carrie. Now, guys, this is Carrie. This was her best friend from like 2000 and maybe like 4. Before she was even out of high school, she and this girl were like best friends. This is Carrie. Carrie was also a model. They were best friends. Let me see. How old are you? She says, I'm 39 from Buffalo, New York. Where do you work? And she goes, I live and work in Los Angeles as a personal assistant. When did you know Cassie? From 2001 to 2018. She was my best friend. What's your current status? We don't speak. What happened? Her boyfriend assaulted me. Why are you testifying? I was sent a subpoena. Do you want to testify? She said, no, I don't. Carrie made for a good witness because it didn't feel, she doesn't give a fuck. Carrie is just there. She doesn't care. She does not want to be there. She does not care about any of this bull. Why have you not spoken to Cassie? She said, I moved on with my life. How would you describe young Cassie? She was young and fun. What was her confidence level? Very confident. How much alcohol did you see her consume? And she said, let me just put it like this. I had to put my finger down her throat so she could throw up after she drank. And I thought that was kind of weird, but okay. I don't think anybody's ever put their finger down their throat to help me throw up. The first thing I thought about was being Bobby Brown when he said when Whitney Houston would get constipated, he would have to go in manually and get it out. And I didn't quite get what that meant at first, but apparently he was sticking his finger up her back door to help get out the constipation. That was the first thing that I thought about. Did she also make music? She says 2006, she recorded Me and You and it blew up. When did she date Diddy? 2007. What was the status of their relationship? She says they were together. Did you spend time with them? She says yes. Where? Ibiza, Vegas, LA, and there's one thing I can't read. New York. Were drugs used? She says yes. Who used them? All of us. How frequently? When we would party. What drugs did he take? Molly, X, and weed. How did X make you feel? Euphoric. Did you also do drugs with Cassie alone? She says opioids and weed. How well did you know Diddy? I knew him well. How did you feel about him? He was charming, but he was intimidating. What would he do? Yell at Cassie. What did you notice as she dated Diddy longer? Her confidence was gone. What did he criticize her about? Her looks and her behavior. Did Diddy contact you looking for her? Yes, a lot. How much did he call? Sometimes a couple times, sometimes 50 times at a time. They pull out an exhibit. It's KK, Diddy's chief of staff. Did KK call you looking for Cassie? Yes. Did you ever have convos with Cassie about her career? Yes. What did she say? She was frustrated because she wanted to put out music, but it would never get put out. Why? She never said why. How many times did you see Diddy assault Cassie? She says 2. Was he high? No. Where? LA and Jamaica. LA was a rented home. Who was there? Me, Cassie, Sean, and Ruben. Where were you? In the foyer, the front master bedroom, so she could see in the bedroom. He hit her and he punched her. How did you feel? Upset. Did you say something to Ruben? Ruben is a bodyguard. She told him to do something. He told her no. What happened after Cassie and I... Oh, what happened after the assault in Jamaica? Cassie and I went and hid... Oh, I'm sorry. What happened after? Cassie and I went and hid at a neighbor's house. We were face down on the concrete. How long? For 20 to 30 minutes whispering. Why? Because Sean and Ruben were looking for us. So I did think that was interesting. So she's asking the bodyguards to intervene in clearly physical abuse, and the bodyguards are saying no. Additionally, when Diddy is looking for her, he sends KK to go find Cassie. So little things like that, guys, when you're involving your staff and your employees who are on payroll to go and find your abused girlfriend, like all of those things set up that this is an enterprise. This isn't just a husband beating his wife and going look for her. He is sending for her. He's sending goons to look for her. The chief of staff is looking for her. They are finding her. They are going to her house. So whenever when we're talking about this being an enterprise, it definitely establishes that in these instances, when your chief of staff is running down on your girlfriend, there you go. How do you remember it ending? I went back to my hotel and she went back to the house. The Jamaica incident, when did it occur? 2013. Who was there? Me, Cass, Nelly, not the artist, some girl. And then eventually Diddy came. What were you there for? On vacation. To the assault. She says, I was at a bar and then I heard Cassie screaming in the hallway. Cassie had gone to the restroom. Diddy says, she's taking too long. Next thing she heard was a guttural scream. She went to go check and saw Diddy dragging Cassie by the hair. She went and grabbed her purse to get money and a phone just in case they needed to get out of Jamaica really quick. Then Diddy pushed her to the ground and hit her on the Then Diddy pushed her to the ground and Cassie hit her head on the bricks. And then you see Cassie go into a fetal position and no movement. Carrie started yelling at Diddy. Cassie jumps up and flees into the forest. Carrie and Diddy both jump on separate carts. Carrie finds Cassie first, and they hide in a ditch for hours. That in itself is crazy. This girl hitting her head on a brick, going into the fetal position, and then having to go run into a Jamaican forest where you hide for hours in a ditch. On its face, I think that as horrible as this sounds, a lot of us, including myself, have become desensitized to some of this. But you can't listen to this and this is all just horrible. This is all just horrible. This is the second time she's with her best friend and they are hiding, hoping that Diddy won't find them. She said, how did it end? They both went back to the house. And these are the only 2 times. She says, no. Why didn't you mention the other times? She says they weren't as significant. What did you observe when Cassie returned home? She had a black eye. Did anyone else come to the apartment? Diddy. What did he do? He was hitting the door with a hammer to get in. You're on your couch and a nigga is outside hitting the door with a hammer. You have neighbors, you have all of these other people who could see this, hear this, report this. This is past bipolar. This is a sick. This is he's hitting the door with the hammer. How did you feel? She said, I was terrified. However, Cassie was just sitting on the couch like she wouldn't care if he even killed her. What did you do? She called KK and D-Rock. Did he eventually leave? Yes. What happened after he left? The police came. They pushed her into the wall, and Cassie wouldn't answer any questions. So there's a text between her and Kiki. She says, I'm so sorry I missed your call, but I'm not used to this shit. It's nuts. And I don't think anybody should call her right now. So then she sent the card of the detective that had come to the house, and it was Sergeant Hall. So then KK responds, can I call you in a bit when I'm alone? She says, of course, Cassie just asked me to send you the card. She said, did you ever encourage Cassie to speak to the police? She says, yes. Where was Cassie prior to coming home that day? No, I put a freak off, but she said Cassie didn't tell her, only that she was at a hotel. So we can kind of infer that she was at a freak off. Did Cassie ever tell you about a hotel visit? She says, sometimes. What did she ever say What did she ever say about leaving? She said, I can't leave. I can't because of he'll take my car, my job, and my livelihood. That's important. So we have Cassie saying, I love freak offs and all these kind of things. I'm in a relationship. But when she's talking to other people, she's like, I can't leave because he's in control of my whole life. Did Cassie have a lot of friends? She says, no. And all but me were employed with Diddy. Did Cassie spend a lot of time with the employees? She says, yes. Did you notice her behavior after she spent time did you notice her behavior after she spent time with Cassie? The employees convinced Cassie that the abuse was okay. That's significant. The employees told Cassie, it's normal, it's okay. She's reaching out to them because she thinks they're like family. And for her, she's not even the main girlfriend. You're just one of the many. Where were you when Diddy assaulted you? She says, I was at Cassie's house. What happened? Diddy walked in and Cassie saw him walking in and ran and locked herself in the bathroom. Diddy then choked Carrie and boomeranged a hanger at her. Where was Cassie? In the bathroom. Were there marks? Yes, there was choke marks on my neck and there was a knot. She had a concussion in the back of her head. Where did you go when you left? Oh, when did you see? Oh, who did you see when you left the house? Ryan, an old assistant. Did Diddy say anything? He wanted to know who Cassie was cheating with. What injuries did you have? She said, I had a concussion, I was dizzy, and I vomited a few times. And then I went to urgent care. Had a lawyer reached out to you? So she did get a lawyer. They sent a demand letter, but Cassie met up with her and gave her $30,000. And then they met up at some pizza place, gave the money, and Cassie told her that she was milking it. Now, I don't know if that came from Diddy. I don't know if Cassie felt that way. I don't know if Cassie was speaking that way because it's a learned behavior, but I put that's some nasty work. No, I don't know. Maybe Diddy was abusing Cassie because the friend was going to sue and talk. I don't know. Maybe he sent her there to tell her to shut her up. But she only got $30,000 for Diddy choking me. If Diddy were to choke me, I would probably get on the ground and roll around like I had a concussion that required the ambulance to take me to the doctor. I probably wouldn't talk for another week or two so that I could get some. You would be paying me more than $30,000 if you choke me. Oh, somebody said compared to her abuse, it seemed light. That's horrible. Have you spoken since? No. So now Mark is cross-examining. He's saying it's really nice to meet you and you will be out of here quickly. And the girl says perfect. So Mark is much different than what's her name? What is the lady's name? The one I liked. Nicole Westmoreland. He's so nonsensical when he's doing this. They show a picture of Cassie, Dawn, and Kalina. She only knows Cassie. So she says, so you don't know Dawn? She says, no. You were Cassie's best friend? Yes. But you don't recognize Dawn? No. Only from making the band. You would say you tended to know other people close to Cassie? She says, yes. Where did you meet? She says, the NYC photo shoot. So I looked it up, and Cassie was a pretty, she was a working model back in the day. She did a lot of ad campaigns. Describe the friendship. After high school, they moved into an apartment together. How long did you live together? 1 year, then she moved to Harlem. How much was Cassie making in 2004 as a working model? Cassie, at age like 18, was making $250,000 back in 2004. So let's see. give inflation. How much would 250 So in today's money, so 2004, $250,000. In today's money, Cassie would have been making $423,000 from modeling. That was something small, but it was super significant. So if she was doing that at the onset of her modeling career, imagine if she had not been derailed. That's a lot of money. No, not at 24, at 18. At 18, she was making that. When did she start dating Ryan? It's around 2004. He was a music producer. So then he says, remember, if you need a break, just let me know. So he is doing this whole disarm thing. He's going to try to disarm you. When did she start dating Ryan? Blah, blah, blah. Did Cassie and Ryan seem serious? She says, yes. When did you meet Diddy? 2007. Doesn't remember how she met him, though. How often would you see them in 2008? Whenever they were in the same town. Where did you meet? We met at Diddy's house in the studio. We went to Italy, Ibiza, Jamaica, and Burning Man. We went to Burning Man 3 times. Who else went? Stylists and friends. We stayed in a camp together. You have to set up everything that you need for a week to go into the desert by Vegas for Burning Man. Who else was there? Dallas Austin. What was the connection between Dallas and... Hold on. What was the connection between Dallas and Diddy? Kim. Was Kim a source of jealousy for Cassie? She says, yeah, I'm sure, because she couldn't go to the New Year's Eve parties. Who is this like Lucas White? And it says Nellie Hopper, who's in the music business as well. You went to the studio from time to time? She says, yes. What artist did Cassie work with? She said, French Montana, Too Short, and Fab. Was Diddy jealous person? Yes. Was it a cause of stress for you? And she says, only when they involved me. Let's talk about the Chris Brown incident. She says, I don't remember that. I just put, again, he's disarming the witness. So me and Lauren are sitting there like, he's about to really go in, because this is softball. Compared to what Dawn just went through, this lady is getting softball. Was he jealous of Michael B. Jordan? She says, yes. What do you remember about that? She started talking to him right before she filmed some movie. Don't remember the name. And she went to South Africa. She had broken up with Diddy. Did she say something about blocking everyone? And he's like, I don't know how these young people talk. So, if I get this wrong, just, let me know. I'm not hip. I'm not new. Blocking. So annoying. Was Mia in South Africa as well? She says, yes. What was the relationship between Michael B. Jordan and Cassie? She says, I don't know. Were you doing drugs in South Africa? No. Was Cassie doing drugs in South Africa? She says, I'm not sure. Was Gina a source of jealousy for Cassie? She says, yes. Now, this is where you get to, even though she don't F with Cassie, you could tell that this girl is still all about Cassie. They says, was Gina a source of jealousy for Cassie? She says, yes, she was a problem. She wouldn't go away. He was in a full-on relationship with that little girl. And everybody's in the courtroom like, little girl, like, where did that come from? How did you just morphed into this person talking like this? She says she was in a full relationship with the little girl. So he says, why would you call her a little girl? And she says she was acting like a little girl. I'm pretty sure he got that Gina girl pregnant. He even called her the little girl, that Gina girl. Were there times that Cassie asked you to cover for her? She says, not really. So they show her an exhibit where Cassie is asking for a backstory in case Diddy calls. She says, okay, well, it's in paper. So yeah, I did it. It says, when she came back from South Africa, was she still with Michael B. Jordan? She says, I don't know. Now to the apartment incident. Did the police show up after the apartment incident? She says yes, 3 hours later. Were there any visible injuries? She says yes, a black eye. Did the police say anything about Did the police say anything about the black eye? She says she doesn't remember. What did KK do for Diddy? She said apparently she did everything for Diddy, and to her she seemed like a nice girl. Who is, it looks like Mia is an assistant. At the sake of being Captain Obvious, in the 7 years you haven't spoken to her. And she says yes. The hanger situation ended the relationship. She says yes. I draw the line at physical abuse. But you sued Cassie. She says no. Cassie offered her to sign an NDA. Where were you? She said a random pizza place. She gave a figure and you accepted it. So it was $50,000. And she says no, it was $30,000. So I didn't read that. Me and Lauren are steadily talking like, where is this going? Like, where are you about to hit her with? How long was Diddy trying to get Cassie sober? She says, I don't know, but he did send her to treatment and I went as well. And it was something called Ibogaine. Let's see. Ibogaine treatment. I'm learning a lot about this extra stuff, guys, like the stuff that Cassie went to. I was literally on a phone with a friend of mine, and they are getting like, I mentioned something about, they said they were doing something like a sabbatical or something, and I was like, the energy vortex? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, I have no idea what that stuff is. So he sent her to this. Ibogaine is a naturally occurring psychedelic plant medicine derived from West African shrub iboga. Early research indicates that ibogaine treatment could be a cheaper, more effective option for patients suffering from opioid use disorder. So there we go. So Carrie and Cassie went to this alternative. Let me see. Monique, thank you for your coverage on this whole case. Thank you, Monique. Jasmine, oh, we did that one. Pure Joy, Mims, you better come uptown and get your haircut. I mean, Times Square was fine. Shout out to Flawless. Ms. Blackman, thank you for joining the membership. I appreciate you. Not he sent her to a witch doctor. Let me see. Yeah, she was a good witness, y'all. She didn't care. She was so matter of fact and nonchalant. She made a great witness. Did Bonna supply you and Cassie with drugs? If you guys remember, Bonna is the one that Diddy held over the balcony. She says yes. So then there's an exhibit, and they show Eli, who's a manager, Rob Holiday, Keke Palmer, Deontay Nash, and Banya. Did you guys have a lot of fun? She says yes. Was it exciting? Was it exciting? She says yes. Was it a loving group? She says yes. In the Burning Man, who went? Lucas White, Dallas Austin, Diddy, and Carrie. And Cassie, of course. Was it fun? She says yes. From your perspective, were they in love? She says yes. Was Diddy flawed? She says yes. Did you try to help him be a better person? She goes, I guess. So then there's this text message where he's saying, I never really asked you to call me. It's about Cass's birthday. She says, K, 2 minutes. Then she sends him some affirmation from Louis Hayes. So let's look that up. Louis Hayes affirmations. I don't know if he wanted us to see that. He says in this text message, I don't really call you that much. I don't know. So Louis Hayes definitely does daily affirmations. Louise Hay dedicated her life to teaching people how to live a positive and empowered life, often with the aid of positive statements and beliefs. Maybe she sent that to you because you sent her to go get that shit in the jungle to get off opioids. Who knows? But she sent him affirmation, which I didn't understand where that was going. I thought they were about to say something like, do you remember sleeping with Diddy? But that did not happen. I'm not saying the girl slept with Diddy. I'm just saying the setup was like, it made it seem like it was going to be more than just some positive affirmation is the way that everybody interpreted. And when he did not follow up with something tawdry or salacious, you were like, why are you asking this girl this? He says, do you know if Louise Hayes is a writer of self-help books? She goes, I'm unsure. Why would you send this? She says, it's all about loving oneself. Do you believe Diddy didn't love himself? She says, at times. Do you remember giving him words of encouragement other than that? And she says, not that I can remember. So for the hanger incident, it says, what were you using at the time? She goes, I don't remember doing drugs right then. What did he say when he came in? Who is she cheating with? Did you know? No. But she was cheating. I thought that was funny. Who was she cheating with? I don't know, but she was cheating. Did you tell the government you went to the hospital and that it was bloody? She goes, no, I don't remember that. I told him urgent care, but hospital and urgent care are like the same thing. Do you remember the staff saying they were going to call the LAPD? She says, yes. Did they? No. Do you have any pics? She goes, I took pics. Do you have them on you? She says, no. Did the urgent care take pics? She goes, I don't remember. Did the government get your phone or records? She says, no. There's a photo of Diddy and Cassie. When you left a lot of friendships that you loved and adored. And she says, yes. So then they cross. Had the government served you a subpoena for your phone? She says, no. Did the defense? No. What did you see? What did you see in LA? He hit and pushed her in LA. Other than the lawsuit, what else happened when she was jealous? She says, you don't know. In the Jamaica incident, what was the catalyst for it? He said she was taking too long in the bathroom. Now we get to David James, y'all. I don't know where we are on likes, but you guys definitely hit that like button. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe. We have a lot of new subscribers. Let me see. Let's try to get to 3,000 likes as quickly as possible. It's a free way to support the channel. David James. So this is David James. I know I have a picture of him. I hope I have a picture. Okay, this is David James with Capricorn. It says, why are you testifying today? Because he said, I have been subpoenaed twice. So there's a picture of Diddy. When were you his assistant? From May 2007 to 2009. How did you come to work for Diddy? I responded to an ad in the Washington Times saying Diddy wanted an assistant. I really wanted the job. Who interviewed you? Tommy, his current personal assistant, Dia, chief of staff, Marilyn. The chief of staff told him this, y'all. This guy's testimony makes Diddy look horrible. Just giving you heads up. This is the kind of witness that you don't want because he is so well put together. His everything is very concise, very clear, which was also probably what made him a great personal assistant. His shit was so concise. What did you hear? What did Dia tell you in the first interview? They said, this is Mr. Combs' kingdom. We are all here to serve him. That's how this job starts. This is Mr. Combs' kingdom. We are all here to serve him. What were some of the questions? They wanted him to do a SWOT analysis in the beauty industry. put together a calendar with 40 appointments, provide different options for additional yachts in Saint-Tropez. Dia was surprised. He turned the answers in with only a couple of days when he had a week to complete the job. He met with Diddy. When he met with Diddy, they made him compile a spreadsheet of Diddy's favorite Miami spots. And they asked, why would you make a good personal assistant? He said, I'm not concerned about what happened yesterday. I'm concerned about today. And I can't stop, won't stop. Diddy liked that and hired him. Did he have any other personal assistants? There was Tommy, and he listed 3 others. Exhibit 1, it's Capricorn Clark. She was the director of marketing for Sean John. Dia Sims, chief of staff. What were your responsibilities? To ensure he was able to operate and make his environment comfortable. Explain your workday. Now, y'all, this is some crazy shit. This is some really, really, really crazy shit. It's going to move fast. He had to arrive at the house before Diddy woke up, compile all of his business documents to sign, compile all press clippings involving Diddy from the day before, turn on the television, make sure the chef started his food, ask him if he was ready to start his day. Then Diddy would eat. They would drive around. He would eat, and then they would drive around going to meetings till about 5 p.m. Dinner would be until 10 p.m. There were more meetings till 3 a.m. So this man's business hours were from 8 a.m. to 4 a.m. His hours of operation were 8 a.m. to 4 a.m. the next day, 7 days a week. That's crazy. That is insane. How much were you paid for 20-hour work days, 7 days a week? He was only paid $70,000 a year. So you had to advance locations. What does that mean? Set up environments so Diddy would feel comfortable based on his writer. And then hotel rooms writer. He said the hotel rooms were unique compared to the other ones. Where were you located? He says, in his home in LA, in Miami, and I rented a room in New York City. Did Diddy's staff carry weapons? He said legal or illegal. So everybody's ears kind of perked up. And did you see anyone carry legal weapons? He says, yes. Did you see anybody carry illegal weapons? He says, no. What did security say to you? They always told me to stay in my lane. Which girlfriends were you familiar with, y'all? Now, this was crazy. Which girlfriends were you familiar with? Tara, Yana, Cassie, Kim, he called his main girl, and Sarah. I didn't even know about Tara and Yana. Let's see if we can find them real quick. Let me see. Tara and Diddy. I don't see, nothing is popping up. Let me see, Yana and Diddy. I don't see any Yana either. So he has girlfriends that we don't even know about as the general public. But yeah, there was at the time, I think he said it was 2007 or 2009 is when he worked with them. Tara, Yana, Cassie, Kim, the main girl, and Sarah. When did you meet her? As in Cassie. He rented a yacht in Miami to take her out, wanted to impress her. What convos did you have with Cassie? He said on Star Island. Him, Carrie, and Cassie. Cassie said the lifestyle was crazy. He asked her, why don't you leave? She told him, I can't. He controls too much of my life. Second convo. There was a cab ride at Sundance. Cassie was very excited because she had the track list of her songs. It says, did those songs ever come out? He says, no. Did you ever speak to Diddy about relationship with Cassie? He says, no. Y'all, this shit ended crazy. I'm just like, this guy was a great, everything that Don kind of messed up, this guy outshone everybody for the prosecution. I did not talk to him about Cassie and his relationship, but I overheard a convo about it. What did the convo entail? Somebody says, how is Kim? And he goes, doing good. That's my queen. Well, how is Cassie? Cassie's good. I got her right where I want her. She's young and very moldable. End quote. Kim is doing good. That's my queen. How is Cassie? Cassie's good. I got her right where I want her. She's young and very moldable. So when we talk about Cassie's testimony and Cassie believing she's a girlfriend, let me tell you why this plays very well for the prosecution. Cassie's mindset can believe she's whatever she wants. That's fine. It's the other people's testimony that lets you know how Diddy really felt about her, that lets you know that she was an employee just used for freak offs. She was a vessel for the sex that he could not have with Kim Porter. She's young and very moldable. You're not saying she's my queen. You're not saying she's my girlfriend. At this point, you have 5 girlfriends. No offense to Cassie, but Cassie was the one that he could sexually do whatever and beat up. This testimony alone was so powerful for the prosecution. Just like the defense had so many good points and ripped Dawn to shreds, David came and just wrecked shop. If what the prosecution has to get the jury to understand is that was not a real relationship, this plays very well to that. Let me see. Bonnie, have you seen Wendy Williams? Thanks for all you're doing. No, but I was joking with the reporter. I was like, I gotta go because my subscribers told me I gotta go by the window. So somebody send me the address to the window again. Somebody send me the address to the window again. I'm gonna try to go. Dina, what's up, Dina? Where was Popra and all this? We ain't heard about her yet. Tasha, thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate you. I'm so glad you extended the trip. I'm gonna be here till Friday, y'all. I could see that. I could definitely see that. But this was a toss-up. Westmoreland was real good with Dawn, but this last guy, I don't see him breaking under stress. Everything he's saying, it's no nonsense. It's very direct. It's to the point. He's not adding to the question. He's just giving you his truth. So far, he's the star. And he didn't even want to be there. And I bet, like, they kept asking him, do you need any Kleenex? There were moments where he teared up. He definitely was a great witness for the prosecution. I feel bad for him because who knows how much money these people are making, but now they have to employ their own attorneys before they go meet with the grand jury and everything. So that sucks for him. It sucks that he was working 7 days a week, 20-hour days for only $70,000. Let me see. Allison, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate you. What's Prince got to do with the case? So there was a story where Cassie and her friends wanted to go to Prince's house because he was doing a performance at his house. And Cassie went. She didn't tell Diddy. Well, Diddy also went. And when Diddy saw Cassie, she took off running. And when he got back to the house, he beat the shit out of her. That was the Prince story. Also, Inner City says that people are changing his tweets. If you have Diddy outside paying people $20 an hour to wear free Diddy t-shirts, then you have somebody changing tweets to make Inner City Press look crazy. I think Diddy's the only person that benefits from that. Jules says, thanks for your dedication and hard work. Well, thank you, Jules. We got to go back to this. I promise. Saturday was a really long live, but I want to shout out everybody who let me see, how do I do this? think I need to go to StreamYard. Go back to past recordings. Enter studio. Let me see if I can see those super chats because I promised I would start off with those. Okay. Yeah. I think we're going to do it like this. Okay. Question. Do you believe that celebrities being contacted to Diddy could dilute the case? Or we did that one. Michelle's daughter, thank you so much for the super sticker. Miss Rue, just showing you love, Mims. Thank you for the generous super sticker. Grown Woman sent 5 memberships. Thank you so much. Sunkiss, the feds don't come a knocking if they don't have a strong case. Absolutely. Patricia, thank you for the super sticker. Nakiva, what? No Albie Short testimony? No, he's not going to be there. Thank you, Rena. Member for 4 months. Jamie, thank you so much for the generous super chat. I wish I could have done these in real time, but we did 3 hours last week, y'all. I mean, Saturday. We did 3 full hours, and that was a lot. Miss Carmen, I think Diddy purposely made her do these things, meaning ordering escorts, paying them, etc., just like R. Kelly would do to implicate his victims. Now, I do believe that for sure. Ali, Diddy was able to get the message out for dealers in LA not to sell to Cassie. That's infrastructure. We see each other. Tamara, Gene Deal spoke out. Must watch. Like I told you, I saw him today in court. A lone defendant on a RICO case means that everyone around him complied to the feds. This is a chess game. I think Diddy's cooked. Not quite. I don't think they've all flipped yet, but because they have not put out the enterprise letter, they're trying to push them to flip. And if they don't, that's when they'll file charges against the other people. Nikki, thank you so much. Remnants, thank you so much. Chanel's reality. So forcing someone to drink alcohol against their will is legal, simply because alcohol consumption is legal. That's what Simone said. Coco, I think it would help if people actually read the changing document page 1. They have pretty much covered all the elements laid out in the RICO. Rena, isn't all that is required to prove trafficking is a witness saying they were coerced? Well, the thing is, I didn't realize that Cassie was like star victim number 1 and that they are trying to prove that she was actually the one that was sex trafficked. So for that to be the case, you would really have to believe that she was only an employee who didn't know any better. And I think that's a tough sell. I think it's a tough sell. Tamara, Cassie was dragged and beat on cameras leaving a freak off. Is that confusing? Tamara, what she was saying was the distance matters. So that can't be considered kidnapping in California where that occurred. Shishani says, are recruitment, harboring, and transportation not a component of trafficking? I believe they are. Kings, he's Nino Brown, free Diddy. Well, there you go, King Mike's World. Crystal Cove, Cassie had 2 choices. She could pretend to want to freak off and go along, or she could get dog shit stomped out of her in front of the sex workers and then still do the freak off. You ain't never lied. Those were her 2 choices. She could run away, but he would go get her and then beat her again. GG Gifts, thank you so much for the super sticker. Hera, Evening Mim, Straight Shooters in chat. Miss Carmen, thank you, Hera. Miss Carmen, this is why the cycle continues. Absolutely. What's really good? Unindicted co-conspirator, a reason to be biased on the witness stand, and defense will have a field day with them. So far, the prosecution hasn't proven their case beyond a reasonable doubt. This is domestic violence. A lot of people feel that way. DT, thank you so much for the super sticker. DB, it's time for great value Janice Combs to go. Oh, shit. Were you talking about somebody in that chat? Shia says, Mims, you can show. So the chat, thanks for being our eyes and ears. I'll have to figure out how to do that. Miss Carmen, Jasmine Jones. So does your job involve getting beat the hell up with black eyes, etc.? Get the hell out of here. Oh, so y'all are fighting. Anything but the norm. Coming from a New Yorker, we know what's up. I don't know about anybody else. The point of that whole cross with Cassie is that Diddy is Cassie's pimp, and the sex trafficking point is made clear. There you go. Erica says, please remember she was addicted to drugs. She was a junkie. An altered state of thinking. She's in love. It's not reality. And he's physically abusing her too. Stop romanticizing this like it was a real relationship. Joy says, I bet Shannon Sharp is glad the heat is off him. I got a video to do on him. I'm I'm gonna have to figure that one out. Let me see. Crack Coco says, it makes me sick of y'all do not understand what abuse to women. There's a reason why the statistic is high, leaving their abuser. I feel you. Hera, Mim, she is 100% telling the truth. Francis, because Cash App isn't working. Thank you. I appreciate it. I got to reach out to Cash App. Somebody had said Tisa was having the same issues. I should have asked her. Tomorrow I'm going to ask her. Francis says, because Cash App. Okay, you got that one. Auntie, if you know, watch the Diddy 3M fragrance commercial with Cassie. The way he exposed her, even the storyline, it is eye-opening. I think I did see that. It was kind of demonic, right? Jasmine, please research a BDSM switch. That's Diddy. What is a BDSM switch? BDSM switch. What is a switch? In BDSM, the definition of a switch is someone who is willing to or enjoys playing the roles of both dominant and submissive. Okay. Dina, pay your fare. Thank you. Erica, why is the discussion about the sex and not the crimes and laws being broken? A lot of fantasy and projections. Helena, thank you for all the hard work. I know this is taxing in so many ways. On top of your sister's health, continued prayers for strength, provision, and safety and health. Healing for your sister. We appreciate you. Thank you, Helena. She's been around since day one. Amy Brewer, thank you for the super sticker. The Demp, I may have missed it, but how is your sister? Oh, I don't want to say too much about her health. She's not well. There's a lot going on that she's not in control of. And, you know, I don't know. I don't want to say too much about her health. She's not doing well, and I'll just leave it at that. But thank you. I appreciate everybody asking, all the prayers and support. Honestly, I really, really do. It has been kind of taxing being here, knowing that I'm not there. You know, she's in the hospital and all this kind of stuff. That has been pretty taxing. But I know my sister and her kids and my mom have really been holding it down. My uncle definitely went and spent time with her this weekend. Her good friend Misha did a pop-up. Like, that's the kind of stuff she needs. I'll just leave it at that. Tamara, that tape was a great chess move. Absolutely. Because now they can't say that he never abused her. Travis, thank you for becoming a member. Annette, thank you for the super sticker. Jasmine Mims, we have to do these discussions more often. That was hard as hell. Doing 3 straight hours of that was hard, y'all. Oh, my battery's about to die. Foxy Bob, hey, Mims, thanks for your hard work. Thank you. Miss Carmen, Tisa Tales reported Diddy's emergency hearing for escort Clayton Howard's journal. Alleges it proves Cassie's guilt. He hates Cassie more than Diddy. I did hear that Clayton is not a fan of Cassie. But he's also not a fan of Diddy either. Cassie isn't on trial. She's a witness laying the foundation that bad boy resources were used for illegal activities. I agree. Shine, Diddy down for cell block freak offs for life. Now, I don't know. I feel like anything he did with a man was so low key. I don't know if he's getting his back broken in jail. Tamara, Diddy beat his son's university coach. Absolutely. And he settled with that man. J-Lo can't sing and she's a superstar. When J-Lo dropped Diddy, she soared. And his daughters being there was disturbing. Absolutely. Janae, how dare y'all come for J-Lo and Britney Spears like this? They might not have been the best singers, but they at least could dance. Y'all are ungrateful. I don't know about that. They could sing. They could dance. That is true. Goddess no. Cassie solicited the workers because Diddy wanted to remain anonymous and he did not want to face he is actually a gay man. I think he did it to make sure that you are now part of the problem. So if he goes down, you go down with him. Kavari, you don't need to make money for trafficking. Okay. Houston Foodie, she was brainwashed. No question. Rockin', I'm sick of her. Dismiss the silly chick. Oh, we're talking about somebody on the channel, on the panel. Caribbean gal, woo child. All I gotta say is we can. Nacha, escaping the abuse of a billionaire. You can't be weak. Hera, we love some Norris. Foxy, thank you, Mims. You need some rest today as well. Kasha, hey, for contact lens re-wet drops. Oh, because y'all, I was like this the whole time. After about 2 hours, I was down for the count. And Miriam, have an amazing night. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for being here. Oh, man, we got some more over here. We stopped at Jules, right? Wait, where the fuck is it? Okay, we're way up here. Wendy Codier Hudson Yards 50. Wait, is Hudson Yards in let me write it in here. Coterie Hudson Yards 505 West 35th Street. Now, if I go to Wendy's window and she curses me out, I'm blaming y'all. Let me see how far that is from where I am now. 505 West 35th. It's not close. It's like a 30-minute drive. So, okay, before I leave, I will definitely go up there and try to see if I can see Wendy in the window. I definitely will. Thank you, Harlem. Cheryl, she was made to feel like she was lucky to be chosen, and she liked to do anything to keep his attention from experience and as a therapist. So, Cheryl, maybe you should come up one time when I drop the link, or hit me up on Make It Make Sense Now on Instagram. We could definitely have some therapists come on, and not just Cheryl. If you're a therapist and you want to come on, maybe we'll do one of the days where I'll just have a panel of therapists. Adrian, can you see if Cassie named her first daughter Frankie Stone Fiend after Diddy's Frank Stone Hotel alias? Let's see. Cassie's daughter names. Frankie Stone Fine is her name. But I thought that it was Frank Black. It was Frank Black. And Frank White. I would hate if she named her child anything after that, but I don't know. I hope not, but I don't know. Paula, thank you for the super sticker. Jamie says, I tried to send it on Cash App, but it would not let me. Love you, Mims. Yeah, I'm going to ask Tisa tomorrow because somebody told me Tisa was having the same issue. I'm going to ask her tomorrow if she got hers fixed. Dive urgent. Can we get a mustard on the beat? Oh.
Mustard on a beat, ho.
Now, it said where Jaguar right this she.
Mustard on a beat, ho.
Now, it said where Jaguar right this she.
Y'all are crazy. Did Diddy get accused of directly having sex with male sex workers, not just threesomes? No, Paula. He's not been accused of that. Keisha, are they calling more victims to the stand? Did Dawn talk about being locked in the car? They need some more victims who the Enterprise did something to. Are they bringing more victims to the stand? Yes. Victim 2 is coming, and I think there is victim 4 coming as well. They need some more victims. She did not talk about getting locked in the car. She did not talk about, there was something else that happened to Dawn. The forced boob job, none of that. Remnants, keep up the good work. Eagerly listening, from London and watching overseas. Our mom was having a problem with his Cash App too. He moved to Venmo. Okay, I can ask him too. What the hell's going on? Sending you love. Don't feel like you need to work. Sending prayers for God to work his healing and miracles over your life and give you all comfort. Thank you. Life with Leah, the soul sister. Thank you for the super sticker. Remnants reader. Don Lemon had a sad time with his sister. She's in our thoughts. Oh, his sister is not doing well, or did she pass away? Had a sad time with his sisters. That's horrible. Kimberly, juries are seeing his control of lawyers. No, the jury and the witnesses were out of the room when he went off. Life with Leah Solstice. Everyone in the chat sends $10 super chats. Mim could stay to cover the whole trial. That's $6,400 in the chat. Oh, well, yeah, go ahead. I do need to get back home, but I'm thinking about doing spots. Like, I've been here for the first 2 weeks. Maybe I'll come a couple days in week 4, week 6, week 8, maybe. Miss Liz, thank you so much for the super sticker. It's not enough praying for your sister. Thank you. And ACAB, True Crime. I'm a trained clinical psychologist. I'll email you. Okay, sure. No, I absolutely do not. Absolutely do not. Okay, I'll look into that. Guys, I gotta run. Dang, we almost did 2 hours. Y'all know I don't do these long ones. Chemistry, thank you so much for the super sticker. And mods, thank you. I know you guys worked overtime on Saturday, but I gotta run. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate all you guys, and I will see you tomorrow.